I'm Jennifer Galizia. Most people know me as the creator and founder of the Flowering Farmhouse. I am a flower farmer, blogger, and professional photographer. I am passionate about sharing garden tips, home decor, DIY projects, and even some of our favorite family recipes. Today I'm going to be prepping our farm and garden with flower bulbs for next year. When we're done planting, join me and my daughter in the field as we gather and harvest some flowers and vegetables for tonight. Later, we will make my favorite pumpkin bread that's perfect for any fall day. And we'll finish the day with a small gathering with some friends to share in our fall harvest. It's a gorgeous fall day here in Hood River. The birds are chirping, the sun is shining. It's the perfect fall day for getting your bulbs in the ground. There's nothing like starting the day in the garden. Getting my hands in the dirt, knowing that what I'm doing right now will be well worth it come spring. Pretty much the only rule with planting bulbs in the fall is that you need to get them in the ground before your first hard frost. Basically, if you can dig in the dirt, you can plant your bulbs. If the ground is frozen solid, it's too late to plant. So we are about a week before our first hard frost, our first season-ending frost here in the gorge. So I am going to be getting these in the ground. When you're deciding where you want to plant your bulbs, you want a location that has good drainage. You don't want your bulbs to be sitting in a spot that holds a lot of water where they can rot. So right here, I've got a great spot that has good drainage. I am going to be planting these bulbs anywhere from 3 to 6 inches deep. So a general rule of thumb is if a bulb is 2 inches or larger, you usually want to plant it 6 inches deep. Whereas when you're dealing with the smaller bulbs like these, you're going to want to plant them about 3 to 4 inches deep in the ground. Nice thing is when you buy bulbs, almost all packaging will tell you how far apart and how deep you want to plant them. I'm going to go about 3 to 6 inches apart on all of my bulbs here so that they have room to perennialize and spread out and grow. So each year, each of these bulbs is going to multiply and grow additional, I like to call them babies, around the sides that will send up even more shoots and more flowers. So the idea is that these bulbs will fill in around my roses here and will create a space that I don't have to weed. So as they fill in, there's less room and less space for the weeds to grow. Now I'm just kind of spreading things out. This mix of bulbs is all about 6 to 12 inches tall, so there's no right or wrong spot of where to put them. I think we've almost got all the bulbs out. Oh my goodness, look how little these ones are. Look at these, they're so tiny. Okay, I've got these pretty well spread out. Now it's time to start planting these, and I'll continue kind of spacing them out as I start planting. I have so many holes to dig. I am going to use this power planter auger to help me dig some of these holes. Look how easy that was. So when I plant this daffodil here, this is the top. You can see where the roots were down here. So I want the roots on the bottom, and I want this sitting nice and upright so that the plant can have the stem and the flowers growing up to the top of the soil. For some of the smaller bulbs, I find that it is easier to use this tool right here. And I'm digging almost a trench, and I'm just gonna go in a straight line so that about every 3 inches, I can put some of these smaller bulbs in here versus digging individual holes for each of these. Another great reminder is the pollinators. Bulbs provide early season food for the bees and the butterflies as they are coming out. So feeding the pollinators will always serve you well in the garden. If you live somewhere that you have deer, there are many bulbs you can still plant that are deer resistant. Another trick you can do is you can plant narcissus, also known as daffodils in the floral world. We like to call them narcissus. They just sound a little bit fancier, but these bulbs are not liked by the deer. So by planting these, interspersing them throughout my garden, this will deter the deer from coming and eating other flowers. Once you're done planting, you want to make sure you give your bulbs one good soaking with water. You can use a watering can, a hose. Just make sure you give them lots of water just when you plant. And then that's all you need to do. Then you can let Mother Nature do her thing. All right, I've been out in the field harvesting for tonight's dinner party, and I probably have enough flowers, but I'm still looking for that one special dahlia. I just want a good blush to add to these bouquets for the table tonight. So I'm walking through our blush dahlias right now, and I know I'm about to find the ones. So I think if we stop right here, let's take a look at this one. What do we think about this one? I think this would be beautiful on the table tonight. So I'm gonna go ahead and give this one a cut. All right, so I'm gonna cut off the side stems on this. Look at those beautiful flowers there. Let the spider go. There we go. Oh, and look at that, we get a double bloom. Get a bonus one. Okay, shall we go? I think Olivia's home from school. Let's go see if she's ready to harvest some pumpkins. Okay. Oh, this is going to be so beautiful tonight. Here you go. Big step over. Oh yeah, look at that. Oh, these are going to be so pretty on the table, Olivia. Want that one? It's going to get heavy. Oh, look at this one. This one's got a good long stem. Ooh. Oh, look at this one. This is Mama's pumpkin. Let's grab some corn for tonight's tablescape maybe. And then we need an onion for the pizza. Had our onions drying out, so okay, it's time to get ready for tonight. One of my favorite fall recipes is my homemade pumpkin bread with butterscotch chips. It is so delicious. It's perfect for any fall morning. I love having a small piece after I've come in working in the garden all day. I'll have a cup of coffee, a little bit of pumpkin bread, and so good. Tonight we're gonna prepare it though for dessert. It's gonna be even better with a scoop of ice cream on top. So for today's recipe, all you're going to need is you're going to need an 8x8 baking pan. You're gonna need a stick of butter, so 8 ounces of butter, 2 eggs, a can of pumpkin puree, 15 ounces, pumpkin pie spice, 1 3/4 cup of flour, half a cup of butterscotch, 1 cup of packed brown sugar, a teaspoon of baking soda, half a teaspoon of salt, 1 1/2 teaspoons of vanilla, and then I like to, on the top, to make it look fancy, sprinkle a little bit of decorative sugar on the top. So let's get started. We're gonna make this recipe today. What we're gonna do is we're gonna preheat the oven to 350 degrees, and then let's get some butter melting. All right, so next we're gonna take a small bowl and mix our dry ingredients. So I'm gonna start with our 1 3/4 cup of all-purpose flour, dump that in there. I'm gonna add 1 teaspoon of baking soda, half a teaspoon of salt, and then I need to measure out half a teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice. So I'm going to take a spoon and I'm just gonna gently stir this all together so it's nice and mixed when it goes into the mixture. Okay, let's mix our wet ingredients. So we're gonna start by putting 2 eggs into the mixer, our 1 cup of packed brown sugar, our 1 1/2 teaspoons of vanilla, and then we're gonna add our can of pumpkin puree. The butter should be just about cooled down, so we'll add that in just a second here. I'm just gonna give this a small mix before adding the butter in. All right, let's add our cooled butter to the mixture here. Just gonna pour that in there. And then I'm gonna blend all the wet ingredients. All right, once all of your wet ingredients are thoroughly mixed, you can add in the dry ingredients. So I'm just gonna come over to the side and I'm gonna add this in a few scoops here. So I'm gonna let that mix and then I'll add the rest. Okay, let's add a little bit more in here. Looks like all the ingredients are mixed together now. I'm gonna just take my spatula, rub down the sides here, and now for the best part, we're gonna add the butterscotch. And I'm just gonna stir that in by hand. This is gonna be so good. All right, now it's time to get our pumpkin bread ready to go in the oven. So I'm gonna take my 8x8 pan. You can grease your pan, or what I like to do is I like to take some parchment paper and I'm just going to push it down in here. So let's use this. And don't worry about it not fully staying in. The pumpkin will weight it down and it'll be wonderful here. So let's pour this in. All right, we'll just spread that around. I'm gonna take our sugar, and you can either measure it out or you can just sprinkle it on top. I do about a tablespoon of this sugar, and it just crystallizes so beautifully when it comes out of the oven. The oven is preheated to 350 degrees, so it's time to put our pumpkin bread in the oven. All right, we're gonna set a timer for 45 minutes while the pumpkin bread bakes, and we need to get the table set next for tonight's gathering. Today, we are going to be making a couple centerpieces for tonight's dinner party. We're going to make one bouquet that's gonna go on the kitchen island so our guests will see it when they arrive. And then I'm going to make a second bouquet to send home with our guests as a thank you for coming over tonight. Our guests tonight are actually our backyard neighbors, and we lease part of our flower farm from them. So what a better way to say thank you than to send them home with a beautiful bouquet of flowers. So I'm going to use these beautiful mason jars today. They're a little bit fancier than just your traditional mason jar. They have these flowers and design elements on them that just kind of make them sparkle with the candles that we'll have tonight. And for the top of these mason jars, I have these little grids that fit perfectly on top and get secured down with the mason jar lid. What's so nice about this is it creates this easy grid that holds the flowers in place and makes it so easy to assemble a bouquet when you're in a hurry. So today we have so much going on. This is going to save me so much time. So let's get started making these bouquets. So to get started, I am using some eucalyptus, and this is a silver dollar eucalyptus. And I like to start my bouquets with my greenery. Just makes a really nice starting ground to arrange everything for your bouquet. Let's see. I have this beautiful statice. This is an apricot statice. I just love this color for fall. And next, I'm going to add some yarrow. This is beautiful, but too many flowers on one stem, so I'm gonna cut this down for this bouquet. I love these water lily dahlias here. These are a Yvonne. Look how beautiful that color is. I'm using a Lazy Susan from the kitchen to spin all of this around. It makes it so much easier to arrange. And you can spin things around and see the bouquet from all angles. Look how easy this is with this grid to just arrange everything. And let's add another Yvonne dahlia here. I want to add a couple more white dahlias. I haven't used our bronze fennel yet. Let's add some bronze fennel to this. That will be perfect over here. And there we go. There's our first centerpiece. Let's make one more of these. With a name like Galizia, pizza has become a staple in this household. We make pizza probably every week. We love homemade pizza. There's nothing quite the same. Over the years, we have perfected our crust. We make our crust from scratch. We start several days out using sourdough discard, and it is just so good. One thing that we've always wanted to add to our pizza is pesto. I am allergic to nuts, and so I'm not able to buy most pesto from the stores. Just recently, we were trying to figure out what to do with our leftover basil from the garden, and we decided to try making some homemade pesto. So while I don't have an exact recipe for this, I kind of just like to eyeball it. So for my pesto, I like to use basil from the garden, garlic, a little bit of Parmesan cheese, a little bit of pumpkin seeds, some lemon juice, a little bit of olive oil, and I finished it off with a little bit of sea salt. All right, that consistency looks awesome. Let's taste it. That's good pesto. Straight from the garden. Sometimes the best pizzas have the most simple ingredients. I've found that the secret to a good crust is to sprinkle a little bit of cornmeal on the bottom before you lay the dough down. Gives it that nice crispy crunch. Take the dough out, punch it down. It's a little bit of a process because you stretch it and let it rest, and stretch it and let it rest. Oh, that dough feels perfect. Even the dogs know it's pizza night. They are at my feet.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
House looks nice.
Welcome! Hi! So glad you guys came. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us. It's so good to
Thank
see
you,
you guys.
Olivia.
Oh, look at these
Hi,
guys.
little puppies. Well, cheers to you and your
It's a lot
flower
easier
farm.
than that.
Cheers to free landscaping.
Thanks for having us over for dinner.
Cheers, Mom and Daddy.
There's nothing better than getting to share special moments with your loved ones. Creating a beautiful space with flowers, cooking a meal straight from the garden, and sharing laughter with close friends is, in my book, the perfect ending to a perfect day.